can they move past that fear?
You should not do this. Sign a building contract in a day.
Sure, they might be walking on eggshells.
Is to do some background research. The price that you first initially thought you were going to build your home at is now a lot more.
Norm, addressing the fear of building. A lot of people have a fear of building. What would some of the most common fears people have when it comes to building?
Yeah, look, unfortunately, we do come across people that have fears and concerns when it comes down to taking that next step into building a new home. And, I guess a lot of it comes down to transparency, time frames, and obviously then cost. Everyone's got to be very mindful of the overall cost of where things are. The best way for people to start approaching, their fears, that they've got to really start communicating early with a builder they feel comfortable with. If they look, you've got nothing to lose with them picking up the phone and setting an appointment, and having a one-on-one with a builder. A good builder should be able to work through your concerns and those fears and help guide you on the right path. And that right path may not be building. They should be able to tell you if this is a right fit for you or not there. If a builder is all about just going, oh no, she'll be right, just go for, just build, you've got to still be very mindful. Are they in it for themselves, or are they actually in it for the bigger picture that you're going to prosper as well? And look, it was only yesterday I had a conversation with some customers, around this there. And, the example, the situation that they're in is that, pre-COVID, they were just about to retire, life was looking great, then bang, COVID, it hit. And obviously then from that, the cost of building and everything now has unfortunately dramatically increased. Now, their nest egg hasn't, so now they're finding themselves reevaluating, is this actually still going to work for us or not? So I sat down with them and we had a very lengthy conversation and, means and ways that things may work or other alternative options of potentially buying an existing home. Obviously I'd prefer to be building a new home, but if it's not going to work for them, it's not going to work for any of us. So, I'm very happy to have an open conversation and dive into those nuts and bolts if they're willing to share and ask questions. And hopefully with the information I can provide them, they can make the best informed decision for themselves to take that next step if it's, building a new home or potentially buying existing.
Yeah, I love that. So what would, zooming out of that, what would be some examples of fears that people actually have?
Yeah, look, a lot of people have different fears, but a good example, would be, the cost of the actual build or cost overruns and things there. And, the best way to mitigate that there is obviously if you're communicating openly with your builder and you take the right step forward and, the right process and put all the foundations in place there to minimize that impact of if it is a cost overruns there, well, what things can we have in place there? Make sure we do have all our plans and specifications all in place. So then when we go to get things quoted, everything's going to be live and accurate and there's not going to be any missing parts. So there's not going to be any little hidden kinder surprises down the line that's going to make things blow out.
So with that then, if somebody's building for the first time, where would their fears come from? They've got to be planted into their mind from somewhere. So where would they come from?
Oh, look, it's, the family barbecue, You know, it's everybody's an expert and got an opinion on something. And look, don't get me wrong, it's great to lean on your friends and your family and, you know, take advice in that there. But, you know, if you really want to find out the truth about something, you go to an expert. You know, have the conversation with the expert there, digest, you know, those concerns there, and you can either find out if they're factual or not. You know, yes, you can go into certain building companies and you're going to get salespeople that are just going to tell you everything you want to hear, you know, but if you end up dealing with a builder directly and you are getting told, you know, yes and no's, and, you know, I guess having that transparency of a conversation, you know, that there should really help tie things up there for you and address some of those fears and concerns to begin with.
So on that, so you're saying there to go and engage with the builder, how important is it for the homeowner to have a clear vision of what they want before engaging with the builder?
Yeah, look, having a clear vision is a great thing to have, you know, if you're looking at building a new home, but don't procrastinate on that thinking it has to be perfect before you start, because it's not going to be like that. There's so many moving parts and different elements that you've got to consider. So yes, it's good to have a clear vision, but that clear vision still can have clouds in it. That's okay. You know, don't beat yourself up and think that has to be perfect. Like, if you can bring some of that, you know, inspiration or that vision of what you're wanting in your building, sit down and discuss that with your builder on a, you know, you might have a chook scratching there to start with. Yeah. You know, a good builder will be able to help evolve that idea and turn that dream into more of a reality.
So if somebody's sitting there now watching this and they, you know, they have a desire to build, they may be riddled with fear, perhaps looking at the media and perhaps those barbecue conversations that you're talking about there. What are some other practical ways that they can use to overcome their fears?
Yeah, look, yes, the media and things are out there that don't help with, you know, I guess addressing people's fears. That just amplifies that there. Like, the best way for them to sort of start overcoming that there is you've got to start. You know, you've got to find a starting point, and the best starting point is to do some background research. You don't even have to engage a builder at this stage. There's that much information out there. Like, with the digital age we work in, is at your fingertips. You know, so do that groundwork. You know, narrow the field down to who you think is a good fit with you. Then engage, you know, that specific, you know, builder or two that you think is a good fit. But there's plenty of little tests and tricks out there for you to sort of see if they are. And you know, it could be a real simple thing, is literally just ringing that building company, leaving a message, sending an email, see if they actually get back to you. See if they actually are timely in their manner to begin with, you know. And that's a very small step, but if they don't get back to you in an appropriate time frame, how are you going to build a relationship with that person and then continue on to literally the biggest investment that you'd normally ever make in building a new home and enjoy that journey?
It's a key question to ask. And I guess, like, on that, so you're kind of testing the relationship early stages. I mean, this is a bit left field, but how important do you feel is, like, branding and marketing of a construction company? Because, you know, a lot of these people, they're just going off, they might see a van drive past or a truck drive past, and they'll Google that company's name. They might do their due diligence on their social media feed or on their website. How important do you feel it is having a brand that represents what you guys actually do?
Yeah, look, having a brand is very important. You know, I believe it does portray professionalism and you know, it shows the commitment that company is invested in, and, you know, they're wanting to grow and give you the best product they possibly can. But, you know, don't be caught out by the big flashing lights and the billboards either. That can be the opposite end of the scale. Like, you know, the digital age that we live in there now, you know, it's very easily to be a deer in the headlight and just get attracted to what we think is going to be fantastic, and we're getting told all the things we want to hear. But it's still really important to take it back to that more humanized touch there, like I mentioned before, making a phone call or sending an email, go in and have that one-on-one chat. I think it's a mix of all those ingredients together that will then help you find the person that's a right fit for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. So, for example, if you're seeing all the flashy signs and the big billboards, yet you go to call them, and if the communication in the early stages isn't quite there, that perhaps is a red flag in itself.
That's right. And there's many other ways that can sort of you can test those waters, but you know in yourself a criteria or certain things that are important to you. So make sure you have that little list of, okay, does it tick that box for me? You know, because it's not a one shoe fits all sort of thing, you know, and that's why I guess when you're working with a volume building company, you know, compared to a custom building company there, it's going to be chalk or cheese really to the service and the total outcome that you're going to be getting.
So you mentioned earlier, speaking to a builder in the early stages, and I think some people might have some concerns about that. They may feel like they might cop a sales pitch and have to sign on the dotted line, but what would you say is the benefits of engaging with the builder in the early stages?
Yeah, look, the benefits of engaging a builder in the early stages, and there's no such thing as, it's too early. Like, the earlier you start, the better that is going to help prepare you for the journey that you're going to be taking. You know, it's severely important that people understand that it costs you nothing to have a conversation. You know, so you're not going to walk into a building company and, well, you should not do this, and, you know, have a chat, sign a contract on the dotted line, and you're done in a day or even in a week. Like, it's a much longer journey if you do it properly. Yes, there are people out there, and that's where I get into the sales, the sort of people that you can come in, they'll sign you up as quick as they possibly can. You know, you'll never ever sign a building contract without having multiple conversations first. You know, you may have a conversation and then go into a preliminary agreement, but that is not a building contract.
Yeah, that's huge. So, adding on to that then, what final advice would you give to homeowners looking to build who may be a bit fearful and a bit unsure? They might be walking on eggshells. What advice would you give them?
Yeah, look, the best advice I can give for anyone looking at starting a new home journey there, you know, it's really to do the groundwork. You know, we're all quite used to having everything at our fingertips and getting the old Uber Eats and having everything yesterday, but let's just slow down a little bit. Let's take a step back there. You know, do your groundwork, research on the building companies that you think are the best fit for yourself there. Then start engaging those guys and making sure that they are going to be the right fit for you. Like, you have to act, you know, to be able to address any fears or concerns. You know, if we procrastinate and we, you know, don't act and start talking with builders, the unfortunate side to that is that a week goes, a month goes, 6 months, a year later, you know, in some cases can be multiple years, and people come back and then the price that you first initially thought you're going to build your home at is now a lot more. So the benefit of actually acting now, it arms you with the correct information and gives you the choice to take the path which is the best fit for yourself, but it also enables you to then be able to secure a better costing because you're moving forward, you're not being left behind.
Yep, I love that. So any final advice as well on perhaps a homeowner has got a builder in mind that they're thinking of building with, and they're still not fully sure if this is the right builder for them. There might still be a bit of hesitation for them to fully engage, perhaps even signing a prelim. Or perhaps they have signed a prelim and then going into that building contract phase. What advice can you give them if they are still on the edge with choosing a builder? How can they move past that fear?
Look, if you're really struggling to find if your builder's a good fit there, you know, you've got to go back to the beginning and, you know, to that criteria. So it's what's important to you in this build. You know, what's going to give you the best outcome? You know, and those little things that may not be important to other people that are important to you. Is that builder addressing those issues or concerns or ticking those boxes off to what your wish list is? You know, so you really got to sort of just go back and reflect upon where you started and those little important things that are going to make things, you know, much more pleasant and enjoyable for you in your new home. You know, if your builder, you know, through the journey hasn't been a good communicator or been able to address those concerns in the early stages, that's probably a good telltale sign that they're not going to be the right fit for you. You know, so that is a very clear warning sign or a red flag there that you should just cut your losses with where things are and move on to someone that's going to be able to accommodate your request.
Yeah. Well, that's gold, mate. Absolutely. Well, thanks for that.
My pleasure, mate.
And just shifting gears before we wrap up, I will get us to our Get to Know Your Norm jar, where Norm is going to pick a question out of this jar, and we're going to hear some insightful and unique questions, and all in the attempt to get to know Norm just that little bit more. Okay. This is a tricky one. You're going to have to think real hard for this one. Okay, so Norm, if you could create a holiday, what would it be called and what would we celebrate?
Create a holiday and what would we celebrate? All right. Look, I think, you know, you always want to be celebrating life. It's always a good part of things. Like you want to enjoy that there. Nice. But I reckon that if I had to create something, it'd have to be, you know, warmer climate. You know, you can fish, swim, explore, you know, board shorts, thong sort of environment.
What would we call the holiday?
I reckon we just go for something nice and simple, just time out.
Time out. Oh, time out. I love that. Done deal. Yeah. I look forward to my next time, man.
Right. Likewise.
Well, cheers. Thanks for your insight and wisdom, Norm.
Thank you.
And until next time on The Builder's Edge.
All right, perfect.
Thank you.